All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. The future is no longer science fiction.
We are living in a moment of wonder, and it is our responsibility to prepare children in America. Cars now steer themselves through our cities. Robots hold steady hands in the operating room. And drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction. Data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis shows that AI innovation is clearly boosting America's GDP growth. Surely this is not a trend, for AI will serve as the underpinning of every business sector in our nation, including education, life sciences, finance, and design. In fact, I predict AI will represent the single largest growth category in our nation during this administration, and I won't be surprised if AI becomes known as the greatest engine of progress in the history of the United States of America. But as leaders and parents, we must manage AI's growth responsibly. During this primitive stage, it is our duty to treat AI as we would our own children, empowering but with watchful guidance.
There you go. So, hey, AI is in full control of everything, man. All right. So, the era that we live in right now, okay, is going to bring the end of America. All right. As you heard it first from the so-called First Lady, right? So this is the definition of era. All right. So like I said, we live in the era that will bring the end of America. All right. This is where era it goes into a period of time as reckoned for a specific date, serving as the basis of its chronological system. A period of time characterized by particular circumstances, events, or personages. All right. Let's jump down. It says a fixed point of time, usually an epoch, from which a series of years is reckoned. Here's a good one here. Definition 5 and 6, a period of time reckoned for some particular date or epoch, a succession of years dating from some important event, a period of time in which a new order of things prevails. All right. And we're in that period of time, as you see, as she was talking about, all right, going back into the AI being in the forefront of everything that's America. All right. Which is all, again, the components of the beast system. All right. So it's all here to letting you know that the AI is going to be the ruling, the ruling entity, if you will, over every aspect of America. All right, these are the things that we've been warning you about throughout these lessons, that the end of Esau's world is here. All right, so again, it says a period of time in which a new order of things prevails, a signal state of history, an epoch. All right, similar. All right, so right now this is the transition. All right, of a new age that's coming in, man. All right, so as these devils think that they're gonna rule the earth under this dystopia, if you will. All right, the parallels is that at the same time we're in the time of their fall. All right, Daniel's 12:4 says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end." Right, so there was a period of time where the prophecies and the understanding of the scriptures were sealed. All right. And then you had the time of the, the early 60s, right? You had high priest Abba Bivens come on the scene. All right. Elijah coming back in the reincarnation in the last days to turn the hearts of the children back to the fathers. All right. You had the awakening of Israel. All right. You had the understanding of the 12 tribes go forth. Okay. The prophecies, the location of the tribes, who the true Israelites are. All right. And pretty much, in depth understanding of the scriptures at that point. All right. So we live in that all ties into the time of the end. All right. Which we're clearly in that time of the end now. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So everything that she was speaking about here, dealing with the AI, which is going to be in the forefront of everything that's going to make America great. Okay, that this all contributes to the end of Esau's world, right? ChatGPT on that Daniel 12:4. Number 1, shut up the words and seal the book. Daniel was commanded to preserve prophecy, but his full meaning would remain hidden until the time of the end, of course, right? So as we just talked about, all right, going back into the early 1960s, all right, that was it 3 days and a half, Revelation 11:11, where the spirit of life entered back into them. All right, so all of that ties back into that time. Okay. Things wouldn't be revealed until the time of the end, right? The Israelites waking back up. Okay, the prophets standing back up upon their feet. This implies that while Daniel wrote it down faithfully, his interpretation would only be unlocked when the appointed time drew near. You see that? Number 2, even to the time of the end, this marks the prophecy especially relevant for the last generation. Are we not in the last generation? Scriptures talk about that. This is the generation that shall seek his face. Let me see if I can get that real quick. Just thinking about that. The generation that seek him. All right, let me put it in. Yeah. Psalms 24, all right? This is Psalms 24 and verse 6. Psalms 24 and 6, it says, this is the generation of them that seek him, all right? That has to be us, all right? We're that last generation, okay? This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob, Salah. You see that? So the Lord has, opened up that understanding back unto us. All right. Because again, we have to be that last generation pursuing the, was it Baruch? Let's get that real quick too. Baruch, the second chapter, right? Just tying that back in, to where it talked about how, as well, that the Bible would be sealed even to the time of the end, right? So Baruch 2 and verse 29. The point is in verse 30. Baruch 2 and 29. It says, if you will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations where I will scatter them. Verse 30, Baruch 2 and 30. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. So this would happen in that last generation. All right. This has to be us. All right. The Lord gave us back the breath, pursuing the Ezekiel 37. All right, he put the sinews upon us. He covered us with skin. All right, he gave us our nationality, our heritage, the understanding back. All right, that we will come back to the remembrance of ourselves. Okay, this is happening in this last age, this last in these last days. All right, this last generation. Verse 31, and shall know that I am the Lord their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. And the Lord did that via the Spirit, man, by giving us back the breath. And they should praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. See, this is happening now. Okay, in return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they should remember the way of their fathers, which sin before the Lord. See, so that all ties into that, man. You know, the words were sealed in the book, even to the time of the end. Many should run to and fro, and knowledge should be increased. So going back to what we were reading here, even to the time of the end, this marks the prophecy, especially relevant for the last generation. All right, that has to be us. The vision Daniel received were not only for his own day, but had future fulfillment far beyond his lifetime. See, many shall run to and fro, often interpreted in two ways: literal sense, an increase in travel and movement across the earth in the last days. Modern transportation fits this as well. It says figurative sense, people searching the scriptures and seeking understanding of prophecy to and fro within God's word. It says knowledge, number 4, knowledge shall be increased. Again, 2 levels of meaning, twofold. General knowledge, an explosion of scientific, technological, and worldly knowledge at the end of the age. See? All right, exactly what she was talking about, dealing with the AI. Okay, the AI is pretty much in the forefront of everything that makes America great. All right? It says spiritual knowledge, deeper understanding, word of the Most High, especially prophecy, will open up as the end approaches. See? In short, Daniel was told to write and seal the prophecy because it was for a future generation. See? The signs of its unsealing would be global travel, an explosion of knowledge, and increased insight into scripture hallmarks the modern world. So again, this technology signifies, the end of his world. All right, they increase the AI, the warfares we're gonna get into here. All right, the robots, drones. Okay, the beast system, digital payments, cashless society. All right, all these things are tied into the end of America, man. So again, we live in the era that will bring the end of America. All right. So jumping into this article here, this is from the Epoch Times, right? And it's funny because we just was reading the definition of era, right? And it talked about a period of time of a new order of things prevails, a signal stage of history, an epoch. See, all right? This is the epoch. Matter of fact, let's pull that up. I believe I brought that out before. Epoch definition, right? Yep. A particular period of history, especially one consider remarkable or noteworthy, right? And we're in that time, man. This is the time where, the age of technology peaking, man. The AI, the super AI, on how it's rapidly, growing, how it's surpassing human capability and all of that. The way war is being done now. All right, dealing with the technology, the satellites, the drones. All right, you got Palantir, So this is a remarkable time, which all signifies the end, right? But anyway, Epoch Times, Trump to sign order renaming Department of Defense to Department of War. See that? We're in the time of war, all right? According to Ecclesiastes, right? Ecclesiastes 3. And 6, the point is in 8. We'll start at 6 here. Or start at 5. Ecclesiastes 3 and 5. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. All right. And you see You see the state of society right now. Okay, you have the so-called MAGAs. They're divided. Okay, see, people thought when Trump got back in office in his second term that he was gonna lower gas prices. He was gonna lower grocery prices. He was gonna fix the way of living here. But since he's been in office, man, shit has gotten worse. All right, hyperinflation. It's harder to live. People are barely making it. All right, and that all ties into having these MAGAs being divided, man. Okay, he's turned America to a police state, man. Martial law is basically being implemented over these major cities, right? So there's all types of internal division going on amongst these Edomites, man. So this is definitely a time to refrain from embracing, man. You know, it's just a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rent and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, in which these prophecies are speaking. A time to love, a time to hate, in a time of war, in a time of peace. So we're in that time of hate. You know, the racial division that's going on. All right, these Edomites are letting it be known how much they, you know, the great disdain they have for you Jakes. You know, a time of war. All right, civil war, nuclear war. Right? Pentagon changed its name, or the Department of Defense changed its name to the Department of War. Okay? Because we're in a time of nuclear war, World War III. All right? So it says Trump to rename Pentagon, restoring historic Department of War, and latest military move, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wrote on X. All right? It says President Donald Trump will sign an executive order on September 5th, renaming the Department of Defense to its previous title, the Department of War. Senior administration officials confirmed on September 4th. Let's jump down. It says the president had proposed returning the Department of Defense, the Department of Defense's original name, while signing executive orders in the Oval Office on August 25th. Quote, Pete, you started off by saying the Department of Defense, and somehow it didn't sound good to me, Trump said, speaking to Hegseth. Defense, what are we defense? Why are we defense? It used to be called Department of War, and it had a stronger sound. And now, and as you know, we won World War I and we won World War II. We won everything. Now we have a Department of Defense. We're defenders, I don't know. All right, that's the pride of these Edomites, man. The pride of Esau, man. It says Trump has also floated the name change while speaking with reporters at the NATO summit on June 25th. You know, it used to be called Secretary of War. Trump said maybe for a couple of weeks we'll call it that because we feel like warriors. At the same event, the president introduced Hegseth as Secretary of War and suggested that the change to the current Secretary of Defense was because we became politically correct. All right, and the rest reads. All right, so hey, again, we're in the time of war, which this war that's coming, World War III is going to bring the end of Babylon, man, as we know it. All right, here's some more, just to add on. This is from the America's First Report. It says, China expected to unveil, quote, world's most powerful laser, new hypersonic Eagle missiles at military parade. See that? So Moab, all right, the so-called Chinese, all right, they have a new powerful laser, a new hypersonic Eagle missiles at military parade. So, hey, these missiles are set up to take down the Eagle, which represents America. All right, it's all spiritual. You see? It says Beijing is set to display a range of previously unseen advanced weaponry during a military parade in Tiananmen Square on September 3rd, signaling its growing military prowess and heightened tensions with the U.S. over the Taiwan Strait in South China Sea. See that? Satellite imagery circulating on social media indicates that the parade marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II will showcase several new anti-ship missiles, including the YJ-15, YJ-17, YJ-19, and YJ-20, with YJ standing for Ying Ji, or Eagle Attack. See? Some of these missiles are believed to be hypersonic, capable at traveling at speeds exceeding 5 times the speed of sound, posing a potential challenge to naval defenses, you see? All right, the missiles are loaded and ready. All right? Let's get this real quick. Jeremiah 49. In verse 13, it says, "For I sworn by myself, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, that Basra, all right, which is the capital of Edom, shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste." All right, so this is tied to America, man. Okay, Basra is America. Okay, the Lord's going to turn this place into a desolation, a waste, and a curse, right? Through that destruction by the missiles. Verse 14, "I've heard a rumor from the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, an ambassador sent unto the heathen, saying, Gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle." And this is what the Lord is doing. He's causing the heathen to come together, all right, and prepare a battle against Edom, against America, man. Okay, it says, verse 15, "For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men." Started with those Amalekites, the 1948ers, all right, which, as we know, according to prophecy, is going to draw America into nuclear war. The point, verse 16, "Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart," as we read in the article, you know, changing the Department of Defense to the Department of War. All right, trying to, you know, push that Edomite, you know, that Edomite power again. It's not gonna happen, man. Okay, Edomite supremacy is over. Right? It says, "In the pride of thy heart, O thou dwellest in the clefts of the rock, thou holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle," right? As high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. So the eagle is about to fall. All right, it's all spiritual. It says, "Also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that go by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at the plagues thereof." It says, "As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, no man shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it." Because America is going to be completely decimated, man. Okay? This is the time where the eagle is getting ready to be taken down. All right? So again, that's the spirit. You see? So again, the point is that, you know, this is the era that will bring the end of America, man. All right? We're definitely here. Shalom.